Hello and welcome back to another podcast by me, FoxyNoTail, here streaming through the internet. And today we've got a lot to talk about, but before we get onto that, my, hasn't it been a long time since I did a podcast? I know it's got to have been like 2 or 3 weeks. Obviously, we've had Christmas in the way. We've had a lot going on since the last one. And yeah, it's just been absolutely crazy. I've got loads of stuff going on personally. I've got loads of stuff going on in terms of Minecraft and FoxyNoTail and my channel. It's all going mad. It's going crazy and I am super excited for 2019. I cannot wait. And I'm already here. We're 14 days in. It's the 14th of January as I'm recording this and it's already going absolutely crazy and it's amazing. So yeah. Big bang to the start of the new year. Might not have come across in my videos yet, but it is all going on behind the scenes. So, what have we got coming up today? Today we have got the news, and in the news today we're going to be talking about things like shields and campfires, and the 1.9 update is going to be dropping soon. We've got a Q&A as usual, and then we're going to be discussing the Bedrock Edition update, not the Java Edition. We're not interested in 1.14, although we might touch on it. We're mainly interested in the 1.9 update that is coming to Bedrock Edition, and we're also going to be discussing the super duper graphics pack. Whatever happened to that? Do you remember about that? If you don't remember, it will all be refreshed later on in the podcast. But for now, before we do any of that, why don't we just talk about my week? So I guess it's more of my weeks as opposed to my week, since though it's been such a long time since I've done a podcast. And between now and the last one, well, everything in the world has gone on. Obviously, I've been very busy personally. I've had lots of work going on, lots of personal life stuff. It's been Christmas. I've had my kids over. We've had amazing times. We've gone out and done cool stuff. We've been in and done cool stuff. We went to the cinema and watched Wreck-It Ralph 2, which was cool. And then in like Minecraft life, that has just pretty much taken over everything else. There is so much going on in Minecraft at the moment, not only in terms of the game development, but in terms of my channel and everything that's going on. It's absolutely crazy. I have been putting together, me and a group of people have been putting together something called Truly Bedrock, which is going to be a creators only Bedrock Edition survival multiplayer server, which we're all going to be doing videos on. And it's been going crazy sorting that out. We've been getting people involved. We're getting some big names coming on board, which is really good. And we are currently preparing to start recording our first season. Now, we're not going to be recording season 1 straight away. We're actually going to be recording season 0 straight away, which is a bit odd. But if you like, it's a bit of a, just a tester to make sure everything goes smoothly, make sure we all get on all right. And it's, you know, not just going to be a disaster when we start. And also as a little bit of an advert for other potential people to come and look at and go, yeah, I want to be a part of that. Like decent creators, people that are good at putting out quality content, that have a history of putting out good quality Minecraft content and think that they would like to get involved. But we're not here to talk about that right now. What we are here to talk about is my week. And yeah, my week has pretty much been dealing with people on Discord and inviting people and chatting and doing voice chats and just getting to know the guys that are going to be involved. It's been absolutely crazy. And streaming as well. I've been doing some streams and they've been going really well. I've been using my Stream Deck, which is really, really useful and handy. And I'm having an awesome time. I'm having an absolutely awesome time doing streaming from my Java Edition world. What I really like about streaming in my Java world is the fact that I'm actually able to engage not only with the people watching it, but with my actual members on the server, which is great because when I record a video, I don't sort of shout out, hey, I'm going to be recording a video, come along, mainly because my videos are done in short segments, it's not very fluid, and people would probably just be hanging around doing nothing if they wanted to be a part of it. Whereas on a stream, because it's all, there's no cuts, there's no takes, it's all one thing after another, I basically say, hey, come along, we're going to be streaming, and we get to play together, and we have an awesome time. So that's going really, really well. I'm really enjoying it. So on my Bedrock Edition survival realm, at the moment, I've been working on the underground area. In my last video, I did a recreation of my first ever tiny little starter house, and now we're going to be working on the actual main area in the underground bit. At the very, very bottom layer, is, yeah, that's all going to be worked on in the next few videos. In Java Edition, like I said, we've been live streaming. We've been building a big fish tank for the Mad Fisher, who's a recurring prankster in my realm. I still haven't figured out who it was yet. I thought I knew who it was, and they also basically left me something to say they've given up, basically, or they've finished. But I've heard rumours on the grapevine that that's not the case. I've heard rumours that they might actually be coming back, which is good. I hope they do, because it's going to be a sad place without them. Anyway, that's enough of my week. Let's get straight into the news, because there's lots of news. Many, many news, everybody. And in the news this week, we have streaming is going well. Big thumbs up in my notes there. I'm having an amazing time. It's great. I know it's not really newsworthy, but I'm having a good time. Streaming's going really well. I didn't know if it was going to be something I kept on doing and continued with, but it is. It definitely is. I'm having a great time doing that. Anyway, that's not really news. I just wanted to tell everybody about my streaming. Campfires. Campfires is news. That cropped up out of nowhere, didn't it? All of a sudden, boom! Just like the other day, where we got some campfires in the next snapshot, or in the most recent Minecraft 1.14 snapshot, we got campfires. And in my honest opinion, well, the first version of them looked really, really weird. They looked really, really weird. It was basically a half slab with a weird fire animation on top. And it looked really cartoony. It looked like something from the cartoon resource pack or the cartoon texture pack. Even the smoke looked really cartoony. And what I thought was really weird about it is the fact that you can cook food on it, but rather than it having an inventory, you just place the food on the hot, basically the hot burning wood, which obviously in real life would just burn straight through your meat or whatever you're cooking on there. This isn't real life, it's Minecraft, but I still think it's a bit weird. And then after 30 seconds, the food just like pops off. It's bizarre. I don't understand it. It's really, really weird. It doesn't feel Minecrafty at all. It feels like a badly made mod at this particular moment in time. But, you know, if everything was the same, the game would never advance, would it? So I'm not putting it down. I think it's great that we're getting campfires, and I like the idea of it. It just seems really un-Minecrafty at the moment. It doesn't seem to tie in with their usual style. Now, Japper, who is in charge of the textures, has released on Twitter an updated texture for the campfire, which makes it look a little bit less cartoony and a little bit less weird, but you're still placing the meat around the outside or the food to be cooked on the actual logs themselves, which I find really bizarre. But yeah, they're certainly starting to look a lot better. I hope that they do something with the smoke particles. Again, I don't think they're fitting for the default texture pack, but you never know. Well, we'll get used to it at the end of the day. It really doesn't matter. But what the campfires do is they can be used to make smoke signals. So you can basically by putting a hay bale underneath them, you can make the smoke rise really high, which you can turn on and off with pistons and make it look like you're sending smoke signals, which is quite cool. And the smoke has a really large range as well from where you can see it. Now, this is interesting because this is all in Java Edition. We're going to get into later on the fact that at the moment, these things aren't in Bedrock Edition. There's a bit of a confusion there as to what is actually coming in Bedrock Edition. We're going to discuss that shortly. So that's campfires. The next thing is really, really big news. Something we've all been moaning about and waiting for ages and ages and ages. And it's shields in Bedrock. All of a sudden, the other day, completely out of the blue, Aubrey, or otherwise known as, I think it's Tubre, or I don't know how to pronounce her Twitter handle, but she just dropped, basically, shields in Bedrock, though, fam, or something like that, to that effect, and everybody was jumping up and down going, oh my goodness, shields in Bedrock, finally. Now, Mojang on the Bedrock Edition team have been saying for ages that they're planning to do a combat overhaul for the Bedrock Edition that is not going to be in line with the Java combat overhaul, and that's basically because in the Java version 1.9 they did the new combat mechanics, everybody hated it, and it's sort of like a black mark on their history of updates. So I think the Bedrock team are going to try and avoid doing something similar and try and make something that also works across devices. So one of the excuses that they've had for such a long time about shields is we can't add them into the game because it doesn't work on touchscreens or something like that. Now, a lot of people have said that they don't agree that that's really the case, and they're just saying that as a distraction because they were waiting for this combat update. But now all of a sudden they've come out, she's confirmed that they are going to be in the next update, but that she has also said that they are not part of a combat update, and that's going to be coming separately. But again, we're going to get more on these things later on. So that's pretty much the news. There's a lot going on. We're getting close to the start of the truly Bedrock SMP, what I talked about earlier, so I suppose that's newsworthy. That's going to be coming out very soon. But before we go on, I just want to say, if you want to get hold of me, if you want to contact me, you can get hold of me through Twitter at FoxyNoTail. I have a Discord. The link to that will be in the description. And I also have a website, which is FoxyNoTail.com. On my website, you can see all of the links to all of my videos, as well as information on how to join my Discord, how to get to my YouTube channel, how to join my realms and servers, and all those sorts of things. If you want to support me, I do have a Patreon. Pledges start at $1 a month. And I really, really do appreciate the help and support that everybody has given me so far. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get into the Q&A. So this week I have 4 questions, 3 from Discord and 1 from YouTube. And the first one I'm going to do from Deadpool SFD on YouTube. And they asked me, what made you start doing YouTube? Now, this is a story I've told quite a few times to a few different people, but I guess I've probably never really announced it. The reason I started doing YouTube was for my son Jack, who is now 13. At the time, I guess he was probably around about 7, and he was mad into Stampy Longnose and iBallistic Squid and Dan TDM, and he really, really liked watching their videos. And he doesn't live with me, he lived with his mum, and we didn't get to see each other as often as I would have liked. So I thought it was a really good way of basically bringing us closer together to make videos on Minecraft in the sort of same style as the people that he liked watching, so that he could watch them when he wasn't with me. And it worked really well. For the first few years, he really enjoyed it. He did videos with me when he could. We worked really well together. He really enjoyed the videos, and now he's grown up a bit, and he's too cool for my videos these days. I don't think we're even allowed to mention it in front of his friends anymore. But before, when I first started, he was really excited about it, and even all of his friends used to come running up to me in the playground at school and go, "Hi, FoxyNoTail," which was really embarrassing in front of all the other parents. But it was kind of nice. It was really nice that he was proud of me and he enjoyed doing it. I never intended to carry on and continue doing it. I never intended for it to develop the way it did into a sort of not so much serious, but more serious than what it started off being. But then I got an audience. So Jack, sort of, as he got more and more bored of watching my videos, other people were getting involved. I was getting subscribers, I was getting views, I was getting popular, and I thought, oh, well, okay, if other people want to see this, then I'll carry on. At one point, I did have a really long break because I was just like thinking, well, that's it now. Jack's not really interested. There's no point in carrying on. And people were asking where I was and wanted to see videos, so I started again, and it all kicked off again, and it's been that ever since. So there you go, Deadpool SSD. I started making YouTube videos for my son. Now, Fantasy Novel basically said, so now we have bamboo and pandas, what do you think the next animal will be? I'm thinking penguins would be fun, or at least funny. Well, Fantasy Novel, the next animal is obviously going to be foxes, because they've said that's what's coming out. But aside from foxes, I don't know, maybe penguins, maybe something like that. I really don't know at this particular time. They did suggest with the Savannah update and the Desert update, when they did the choices, that we might see things like meerkats and stuff like that popping up. Now, last time they did a vote, when it was the vote for the Phantom, it was the Phantom and nothing else. They said basically whichever one you vote for is going to go in the game and the rest of the things are going to get scrapped. Now, when they did the biome vote, they actually said, we're going to do all of them, but you're voting for which one we're going to do first. So at some point, I guess we will have meerkats and termites and stuff like that. I just don't know when. And I'm pretty sure there were also animals for the other biome that they suggested as well. In fact, let me look at that now. Okay, so doing a quick Google search, the other animal or mob that was going to be included was the ostrich, which was going to be part of the savanna biome. So those were the 3 new animals that are definitely going to be coming at some point. We just don't know when. Penguins, I guess, would be quite fun. I don't know. Mojang have a really strange way of deciding what animals they'll actually allow in the game based on things like cruelty and hunting and all that sort of stuff. They won't add in sharks for whatever political reason. I don't know if it's because they don't want to show sharks as negative and encourage killing them or something like that. And I don't know. There's some really weird stuff they've got, and basically about like preservation of animals. which strikes me as odd because they've added the dolphins in and they couldn't have added them in a more annoying way. You don't see dolphins in Minecraft and go, hey, they're really good fun to play with. You go, stop giving me speed boost! Stop stealing my items! Dolphins, go away! So, and I'm not the only one that thinks this. I've actually spoke to quite a lot of people that have said also they really wish dolphins didn't exist in Minecraft. So the idea that they are picking and choosing what mobs they add in based on maybe like awareness of them in the world or trying to create awareness of endangered species, things like that. That's why polar bears won't drop anything other than fish. Basically because they don't want to encourage people to kill polar bears. So it's really bizarre what they decide they're going to add in. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't really care what they add in next because the mobs, these entities, these fluffy creatures that do nothing for the game, I consider completely pointless. I know they make the game seem like it's a little bit more alive, but I'd rather have things that weren't based on real life. I'd rather have more fantasy stuff come in, or robots, or other creatures that no one's ever heard of, more creepers and stuff like that. Less zombie variants, but more interesting things like that. Things that are just completely passive and boring, like pandas. You can't do anything with a panda. They look cute, but they're pointless. What's the point? Why waste all of that effort putting those into the game when you could put it into giving us something that's really cool, like a rock monster or, I don't know, other crazy fantasy things. So yeah, anyway, I've rambled on that for a little bit too long. I don't know is the answer what I think's coming next, other than the three that are definitely coming next, I guess. The next question is from Val, who is one of my patrons, also asked on Discord. I don't have enough FoxyNoTail merchandise in my life. How can I fix this? Well, Val, funny you should ask that question because I just happen to have a UK and a USA merchandise site where you can buy all sorts of FoxyNoTail merchandise, including hats and t-shirts and bags and pillowcases and keyrings and mugs and all sorts of cool stuff like that. If you head over to FoxyNoTail.com, you'll find links to both the UK version and US version of the store, whichever is more convenient for your location. Please go ahead and check it out. Let me know what you buy. Looking forward to it. Thanks, mate. Okay, bit of a strange one that, but yeah, thanks for the plug there, Val. And the last question is from Remus, also on Discord. Foxy, do you have schedules for your live stream? I'd be very glad if I can watch your live stream. And the answer to you, Remus, is no. I don't have schedules just yet because everything is completely up in the air with everything that's going on with Truly Bedrock, everything that's going on with my Java edition and my Bedrock edition and all the stuff that's going on in my personal life. I don't have a schedule at the moment. Everything's gone completely upside down, left and right, loopy-loo. I don't know is the answer. Earlier on in the previous podcast when I said I was going to be doing a new series on basically faking subscribers for my channel, I'm not doing that anymore. Yeah, there's all sorts of things changing. I've decided I'm not going to do Java Edition videos anymore. I'll do a few, but not many. It's all going to be live streams mainly. And my Bedrock Edition is coming to an end, so that's all going to be starting fresh soon. It's all over the place. And at the moment, all I can say is I will do live streams as often and as regularly as I can. Probably not more than twice a week. Probably likely once a week at this particular moment in time. I will try and do it on a day I don't release a video, like a Monday or a Wednesday or a Friday, but I can't guarantee it at this particular moment in time. But I do aim to get a nice routine going and get schedules going so everybody knows where they're coming and going with me. But at this moment in time, things are just too up in the air. I can't make those decisions. I'm really sorry. And it's not because I can't be bothered. I just genuinely don't know whether I'm coming or going at the moment. So to tell you that I'm going to do it every Thursday or every Friday or every Monday and then not be able to do it, I'd feel bad about that. So I'm just going to do them as often as I can at this particular moment in time. Right then, that's enough of the Q&A. Let's get into discussing our main feature, which is the Minecraft Bedrock Edition 1.9 upcoming update. So there's a lot of confusion surrounding this update, and I think it all started back at Minecon 2018 when they suggested that the update was going to come in two parts. We were going to get one at around about Christmas time, known as the holiday update, and then we were going to get one in the first quarter of 2019, which is what we're in now. and that is going to be the Village and Pillage update. Now, the confusion was that people assumed that they were talking about Minecraft Java Edition, when in fact they were talking about Minecraft Bedrock Edition. So Java Edition was never planned to get the holiday update that we got on Bedrock Edition. As we know from the Aquatic update that was released in 3 different phases, Bedrock Edition prefer to put out more regular updates with smaller parts to them, whereas Java Edition prefer to put out one big update all at once. Now, personally, I prefer the one big update all at once because you know what you're getting and it's exciting waiting for it to come. I don't really enjoy the regularity of the Bedrock Edition updates because I find that the small updates are very easy to get bored with very, very quickly and there's not really much to explore. Having said that, by the end of all 3 parts of the update, you do end up with all of the features pretty much that you get in the one Java Edition update. But because it's come over the space of, like 6 months or so, it doesn't feel quite as exciting as it all coming at once. But that's just me. I did a poll on this on Twitter, and everyone basically said they preferred to have lots and lots of updates as quickly as possible as opposed to waiting like I would prefer. So, I know I'm relatively unique on that front. Now, so we know that Bedrock Edition had the holiday update. We did get an update before Christmas, and in that we had a bit of an issue in the fact that we got bamboo, sort of. We didn't get the bamboo forest, but we got pandas, we got scaffolding. Crossbows came in experimental gameplay only, but we didn't get pillagers. It was a bit higgledy-piggledy. To be perfectly fair, it was higgledy-piggledy. Now, I'm not going to bash on Mojang today. I'm not here to give them any grief. I appreciate that things are difficult for them and they've got to prioritize what they've got to prioritize. So, and I also realize that there's a massive amount to do for the 1.9 update. They really do seem to have, judging by what's going on with Java Edition, bitten on more than they can chew, I think, to be releasing it all in this first quarter of 2019. So, my theory is, and this is purely speculation, but based on everything that they've said that is going to be part of the 1.9 update, my theory is that they're going to split it into at least 3 parts, maybe even 4. So I think we are going to get another update before the end of March, which is the end of quarter 1, but I don't think that's going to include everything. Now, they said it was going to be called the Village and Pillage update, but by the looks of things, considering where they're at with the beta version of the Bedrock Edition at the moment, it seems to be missing the village part of the Village and Pillage update. They've added pillagers, they've added crossbows, but they don't seem to have done anything with the villagers yet, as far as I'm aware. Now, I may be wrong on this because I don't play the beta, but reading through the changelog and reading through what's coming, it doesn't look like a great deal has been put into 1.9 yet, other than those things, and also a few more stairs, slabs, and wall variants. So I'm going to guess that they will probably put the rest of the stuff, i.e. the new villagers and the new village types and the new villager scheduling system, into maybe 1.10. Also, the new crafting tables, the new blocks, the bells, the lecterns, the smithing tables, the grindstones, all those things. There's nowhere to be seen in the Minecraft Bedrock Edition as far as I'm aware, from what I've seen anyway. So I'm going to guess they're not going to be coming in 1.9. I'm going to guess they're going to be coming in 1.10. I think the 1.9 update is going to be primarily the pillage features. So pillagers, crossbows, shields, bamboo, forests, more stairs and slabs. And then the 1.10 is going to be probably around about June time, with the new villagers, the new village types, the new crafting stations, and the maybe new combat mechanics as well. And I'm gonna go more into my theory on combat mechanics as well, based on a thread on Twitter by Aubrey, who, when she released that they were going to be bringing shields across to Bedrock, and people asked her, oh wow, is this a new combat update? And she said, no, the combat update is coming separately. That's going to be a much bigger overhaul. Now, then she never suggested that would be coming in Minecraft 1.10, but if they're splitting up these updates in the way that I think they are, then there might not be much else to put in 1.10. Having said that, you might have noticed that in both of those, I've completely missed out Foxes, berries, and campfires. I don't know when they're going to be added, to be fair, because again, the coding work has been done on Java Edition, but it doesn't look like anything's come through on Bedrock Edition yet. Now, the developers have said quite openly that both teams, i.e. Java Edition team and Bedrock Edition team, split the workload over each update. So the Java Edition team will go, right, we're going to develop this, and this, and the Bedrock Edition says, right, we'll develop the rest of the stuff. And when both teams have finished developing their individual features, they then swap over and pass over the code and stuff so that they can be copied into, or basically translated into, the other code base. So at the moment, we've got the Java team working on Foxy's berries and campfires. Berries has been in a little while. Campfires are now just coming in, well, there's no sign of any foxes yet, which makes me think that Bedrock Edition hasn't even started working on any of those things yet, which is going to make it very difficult for them to squeeze into a quarter or a Q1 update. I know we're only halfway through January, but in a month and a half, it's going to be the end of March. That's not a long time to add in all of these different features and test them as well. Don't forget that all of these features have to be put into the beta to be tested before they put them live. Or I guess they don't have to be, but it really does make sense considering Mojang's history with the bugginess of Minecraft Bedrock Edition. It would make sense that the majority of these brand new features and mechanics did get tested at least some way in the beta version of the game. So yeah, I really don't know how it's all going to come about. My theory is, like I said, that we're going to get a much bigger split this time, with basically trickling the stuff through. And they have been hinting quite strongly over this last year that they intend to do exactly that. They intend to put out more regular updates with less in each one. So you might find that, in fact, I'm completely wrong. We might find in February we get 1.9, which includes pillagers and crossbows, and then in 1.10 we'll get shields, and then in 1.11 we'll get the rest of the stuff. I don't know. I really don't know how they do it. I do know that they have said that the big version numbers like 1.9, 1.10, 1.11 don't mean anything anymore. They said, forget that. We're trying to train people away from those big version numbers and relying on those. Basically, they have said that one of the app stores, or at least one of the app stores like the Nintendo Switch store or something like that, doesn't allow for minor versions beyond the third number, so they have to change the big number between updates. So they basically said, we're limited by the systems that we are involved with or the platforms that we're developing for. It's not our fault, so you just have to get used to it, basically. So that's my theory on when the updates are coming. As I said, I'm not going to really talk about Java Edition too much. I would guess Java Edition will probably drop around about April, May sometime, because again, they've got a lot to do still on Java Edition. They've got to put all the stuff they've already put in the snapshots in, and all the stuff that they've been doing on the Bedrock Edition in there as well, and they've got to tweak it, and they've got to test it, and they've got to get it out. And last time during the Aquatic update, there was a big delay between Bedrock Edition update coming and Java Edition, because they didn't want to put it out until they were happy that all of the bugs had been finished, or the most of the bugs had been sorted at least anyway. So yeah, Java Edition is probably going to be around about April, May, I would guess. This is all just my guesses based on things I've read online, things I've seen from Twitter, things that other people have said. It's not based on anyone actually telling me. I don't know. I don't know what Mojang are actually planning. I can only guess based on what they've released to the public. So now I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about the shields. So in Java Edition, we've had shields for ages. In Bedrock, we've had a shield slot with a shield icon for ages, but no actual shields. And apparently that is because the developers couldn't figure out a way to make it work truly cross-platform. It was going to be difficult to add in shields that worked on both a touchscreen and a controller and a keyboard and mouse. And now apparently they've figured that out, and hopefully they are going to be in the 1.9 update. That's what we've now been promised. We don't know how they're going to work. Are they going to be an auto block feature? Are they only going to work when you're crouching or walking backwards? Is there going to be a new button? I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. But what they have said is it's not going to work in the same way as it does on Java Edition. So don't expect any parity between the two versions there. The other question that was asked was, are they going to be bringing the rest of the combat overhaul with it, or the combat update with it? And Aubrey did say, in this case, we're just bringing shields to Bedrock. The combat update is a much bigger overhaul. So she didn't suggest any time frame on that. Now, we also want to know, are there going to be any other items we're going to be able to hold in our offhand? If we can put the shield in our offhand now, are there going to be other things we can put in there, like torches and stuff like that? If we're going to have a button for shields, then my guess would be or my theory would be that there's no reason why we shouldn't have other items in our offhand like we do on Java Edition, but my feeling is that it's going to be more of an automatic or a crouch-based shield system as opposed to having a new button, in which case using other offhand items is not going to be possible. I'm going to guess that we're not going to get the use of our offhand like we do on Java Edition, but we will somehow manage to get a shield working in there. I don't know. Now, we touched on campfires earlier, so I'm not going to go too much into that now. But again, yeah, I'm just going to say I think they look a little bit cartoony. Overall, I think they're a good design for the game. I like the fact that they're relatively dim because you're going to be able to make quite a nice like camp-looking thing with that. The smoke signals doesn't really do a great deal for me, to be fair, but it is going to be nice to actually have smoke rising out of chimneys. That's going to be a pretty nice thing to do. My concern with campfires is that on Java Edition, it works really well, because they've got a good, decent render distance on there. On Bedrock Edition, things disappear from your render distance very quickly at quite a short distance, especially on Realm. So my concern is how they're going to make that smoke signal thing work on Bedrock Edition. But we shall have to wait and see for that. Like I said, my theory is that's not actually going to come out until 1.10, but we'll see. We will see on that. And then, as I said earlier, berries and foxes? No sign of those yet. Berries are there on Java Edition, but no sign of foxes at all anywhere yet. So are they going to be doing something new and unusual with that? Or are they just going to drop a retextured dog that can be tamed or not tamed? I don't know. What's going to happen? Is it going to be in Bedrock 1.9? At this moment, I would say very, very unlikely. But we will see. Right, anyway, that's enough talking about the 1.9 update and what's coming and what might not be and when it might be coming. Now I want to talk about this super duper graphics pack. So if you don't know what the super duper graphics pack is, or if you don't remember what happened, basically I think it was either late 2016 or early 2017, just before the release of Minecraft Xbox One Edition on the Xbox One X, Mojang basically announced that they were going to be releasing what was known as a 4K super duper graphics pack. And that would not only include new textures, but it would also have better water textures, volumetric lighting, highlighting, shadows, and 3D models instead of flat textures. Basically, it was going to be like a really advanced, cool texture pack with shaders on Minecraft as default, and that was going to be available on the Xbox One X. Unfortunately, as it turned out, it didn't happen, and it was delayed and delayed and delayed, and it all went very, very quiet. Now, information has cropped up again on this lately, again through Twitter and through our favourite person, Aubrey Norris, otherwise known as Duper, who just seems to keep giving us more and more stuff through Twitter. It is very, very interesting. If you don't follow her on Twitter, definitely do, because there is lots and lots of information coming through from her about what's coming in the Bedrock Edition of Minecraft. So, on the 11th of January this year, Aubrey stated on Twitter, "Shields in Bedrock though, fam, ? And somebody called Fusion Droid replied to them saying, "Whatever happened to the super duper graphics? I feel like people forgot that it was mentioned back in 2007. And Aubrey replied to them, "Graphics team is totally rebuilding our entire graphics engine. This is going to take a long time." And then Fusion Droid basically said that he wished they hadn't mentioned it back in 2017 because everyone got excited about it. And Aubrey replied, "Trust me, we wish we hadn't mentioned it either." So that's interesting in the fact that they are on one hand saying they're still developing it, but on the other hand they're saying, "Oh man, we wish we'd never even mentioned it and then we didn't have to do this." As I've said before, I think the issue with the Super Duper graphics pack is that obviously the actual graphics engine required to produce it wasn't involved in the game and required completely rebuilding, and also because it was going to be effectively coming out on the Bedrock version of the game, it means it has got to have to work across all different platforms, which is really difficult when they've got to provide features for really old devices. So they originally said it was only going to be on the Xbox One X, but that still uses the Bedrock version of the game, which has got to work across all devices. So there's going to be massive issues in the way, and I don't think that anybody really thought it through before making that announcement. I get the feeling it was somebody high up at Microsoft said, "Yeah, we're going to do this, and we're really going to show off the capability of the Xbox One X in our brand new Minecraft version Bedrock and really push that as well. And there wasn't enough communication between the two people, well, the two sides of the teams, and it was a problem. So that's just speculation. I don't know, but that conversation then carried on. Ant Venom got involved and asked loads and loads of questions, and it was a really interesting feed. If you haven't seen it, jump over to Twitter now, or after this podcast, wait till this is finished. But yeah, jump over to Twitter and have a look at this feed because it's very, very interesting. So the conversation between Aubrey and Ant Venom went on for quite some time, and he really did dig deep into the depths of this and ask her quite poignant questions, really. He held her up on quite a lot of the details, made her accountable for it. And one of the things she said was that, well, we still need to determine how to prioritize how fast things get done, and the feedback site is one of the things that help us decide what we work on first. Just because we announce a feature doesn't mean it's on the roadmap to be started on that second. What she's basically saying there is, because we've said we're going to do something doesn't mean we're going to do it straight away, which is not what they said when they announced the Super Duper graphics pack, and Ant Venom pulled her up on that, basically to say, well, hang on a minute, you said you're going to do it, and now you're saying you're not going to do it, or it's not really in the pipeline to be done anytime soon. Aubrey then said that there was only a small group of people that had been vocal about it, so there was no pressure to basically get done. And Ant Venom was saying, well, hang on a minute, are you saying that just because people aren't vocal about it and aren't bringing it up, that you just forget about features or don't bother features without telling them? And it went on for a bit, and in the end, Aubrey actually said, look, I'm just going to stop answering stuff like this in future anyway, because I'm not very good at it coming across in the way I intend. And then she apologised for the confusion. So I'm not getting at anybody here, but it was quite clear from that conversation that the Super Duper graphics pack, on one hand, they're saying, yeah, it's still coming and we're working on this really good engine, it's going to be out at some point. And then they're going, well, actually, not really. It's sort of on the back burner. We're not really pushing it very hard. And I get the feeling, personally, that they're hoping people forget about it. She did say it's on the list of things to do, but it's not getting priority. It's not getting upvoted on the feedback site, so it's not getting priority. So that really does push home hard how the Bedrock Edition team are prioritizing the features that they're bringing to the game. And it is literally by what's been upvoted on the Minecraft feedback site. If you don't know what the Minecraft feedback site is, it is a public website which is feedback.minecraft.net that anybody can log into and sign up to, and then you can vote for what features in the game you want to be added next. You can even put in posts of what features of the game you want to see in. If you've got an idea for a feature and you think it's really good, write a post on it and get people to upvote it, and it could get into the game. This isn't a what-if situation. This isn't one of those lotteries where you just you put something in and maybe it might happen. If it's a genuinely good idea and people vote for it, it will get in the game. And they're saying, and they've said again quite a few times now, this website is the way that they determine what people want. And that is how they are prioritizing what they're working on next. So let's say somebody said, I want you guys to take a break and fix the game before you do any updates, and that had the most votes. They might actually take a break and fix the game before they did any more updates. I doubt it, but the point is, that's what they're trying to push people to do. Now, personally, the feedback website isn't great. It works okay on a desktop PC. It's not very good on mobile, and it's a little bit cumbersome. It's a little bit awkward to use, and it's quite difficult to find existing posts. But once you get into it and once you find them, it's a really good way of getting those features listed. I do encourage everybody to get over there and get voting for the features you want to see. If you want to see the Super Duper graphics pack get built, then get over there and vote for it, because by the sounds of it, nobody's voting for it, so they're not really trying very hard with it. So there we go. It's a very short and sweet podcast from me today. I didn't have a massive amount I wanted to say other than talking about those two things. Those are the two things that are most important right now, I suppose. And yeah, other than the Truly Bedrock series, which is going to be starting. But again, I don't want to go into too much detail on that right now until everything is ironed out. I don't want to say things that aren't going to be true, and I don't want to give away spoilers either. So I'm going to talk about more in a podcast coming up soon. Before I go, I would like to say again, if you want to get hold of me or talk to me, you can do on Twitter at FoxyNoTail. I do have a website, which is FoxyNoTail.com, and on there you can find details of all of my channels, including FoxyNoTail, my Patreon website, and how to join me in my game, either on my realm or my server. My plans for next week are making headway with the Truly Bedrock SMP. We're hopefully going to be starting to record Season 0 and also to do more live streams if I've got time. Like I said earlier, it's going to be difficult to find time at the moment with everything all over the place, but I will certainly make the effort to do so. And on my Bedrock realm, I'm going to be working on the underground area with my patrons. We've organised this Wednesday to get together and start building a big Forbidden Forest type thing underground in that area, which should be pretty good. Something to think about for the week. When do you think the update will come out and what do you think it will contain? Do you think the Minecraft Bedrock Edition 1.9 update will be split into multiple parts? Do you think they'll do it all at once? Do you think they'll delay it? Or do you think they're going to push it out really, really soon? Let me know your thoughts and also let me know what you want to hear about on these podcasts in the next one. Thank you all very much for listening and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!